What is going on, my Super Sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I'm bringing another Dragon Ball Super, I almost said Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super discussion. This time we're going to be focusing on a new rumor that's been going around the community. And before we start, there's going to be slight spoilers in regards to the next arc. We're not going to discuss details because there's no details out there. If someone claims there are details, they're false because no information came out yet. Otherwise, you would have seen all of us here make videos about it. But the discussion is going to be based around one rumor today, and that is, what if God Ki is actually forbidden in this tournament? I don't know where this rumor came from. Just actually, before we start, does everybody here know where this rumor came from?
I think it's just fan speculation. There's nothing at all rumored. I think it's basically, my opinion or my guess is that it's fans talking about like the possibility of how Piccolo and Majin Buu could possibly compete in this, and I'm guessing that's their headcanon. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be the rationalization for how they could keep up with such powerful beings.
Right.
I mean, especially Piccolo. I mean, those. Well, Majin Buu is, I guess, so much weaker compared to these guys as well.
Especially Piccolo, because Piccolo's weak to chopsticks, and that's just basic wood.
See, now Quinn really wishes he didn't get on here now because I felt there was a chopstick like reference just coming somewhere.
There always is when there's a Kwame collaboration. But nevertheless, it is a rumor for now. We'll find out in a couple weeks whether or not it's true. But I think this is a
We
good
all love
discussion.
Piccolo, though. We all love Piccolo.
We do love Piccolo, especially Kwame. He loves Piccolo.
Yes.
We wanted to get together and discuss what if this does actually happen. What if Toriyama pulls a complete Toriyama move and does something completely unexpected? He just spent the last 2 years, building up Super Saiyan God and God Ki, and all of a sudden we don't get it. What if this actually does happen? How would people react? How would you guys react? Drop a comment below whether or not this would be a good idea, a bad idea, and really think about it. I mean, obviously, the first thought you would think is, oh, it's a bad idea. Why would you do that? Well, it could create a bunch of doors for different opportunities for stuff to happen in the story. So it could be both good and bad. But with that said, how about we all go around the table discussing, what this actually does happen. Start with Toasty because he likes to burn stuff. Start off by burning this rumor. What do you think about that, Toasty?
Well, it is evident that Whis literally keeps telling Goku and Vegeta that they need to keep their ki inside their bodies in order for them to be stronger, and they keeps telling them do it over and over again, and even put them in a fucking world to where they had to keep the ki inside their bodies to be able to move. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Whis did say, since this tournament is really not a huge thing because it's all about fucking Champa wanting the Earth, and probably Whis probably doesn't care that much about it. He probably would be like, okay, let's take this as a piece of training. Don't go Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, because remember in the earlier chapters when he told Goku and Vegeta when they were training to not go Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, and then obviously Vegeta, when he was losing, he decided to break that rule and just went Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan out of nowhere, or Super Saiyan Blue. So, I mean, it's possible. It really all depends on Whis. But I think that since they are literally putting Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan Blue in every single promotional piece that the Champa arc is having, I feel like they're definitely going to use the form in there, especially since only thing we've seen it in so far is the Resurrection F arc, which, we've only seen like one episode of Goku really using the form anyway. So, yeah, mostly we're going to be seeing a lot more of that form. Even if, it's not used in the tournament itself, it'll probably be used in the aftermath after the tournament. If something like, Champa maybe fucking decides, I'm going to take the Earth anyway, even if I lose or something like that. They're going to probably use it.
So let me ask you a question, Toasty. So if God Ki is forbidden, how would you feel about it?
I wouldn't hate it, but I would hope that they still have like just decent. All I need is decent fights. I don't really care if the form is used anywhere, because now forms really, at least as far as everyone is seeing, like all it is really an aura and a hair color change or hair color or hair growth. I mean, really, people aren't like phased that much by forms. I mean, to be honest, like if it has better choreography or whatever, I personally like the fight between Goku and Frieza in the movie. When Goku was base, or I guess Saiyan Beyond God, more than when he was a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan because of the fight. So it all depends on the fight. If the fight is good, it doesn't really matter to me if they transform or not. So yeah, I really don't have that much of a care if they don't use the transformation.
That's a pretty good point. I mean, that's what I was kind of thinking too. It's like, it will be kind of weird to take it away, but at the same time, if the fights are still good, it doesn't really matter. Black and Fist, what you got?
Well, I think it's a concept that I was pretty skeptical of, because God Ki is something that is a newly introduced concept in Dragon Ball, and it would be kind of weird to get rid of it, like, oh, it's introduced and then it goes away. Then again, Toriyama is one of those writers that will do things that come completely out of left field, completely just changes the dynamics of Dragon Ball, maybe the thing, and that I guess isn't completely out of the question when it comes to Toriyama himself. But it's kind of interesting to think that, okay, well, if everyone is using God Ki in this tournament, then I would assume that all the other opponents are gods too, which is something that I haven't really thought about. Well, like, if God Ki is allowed, then everyone else is a god too. But what Toasty did say something interesting here, that it did harken back to earlier Dragon Ball, because he said maybe perhaps no God Ki will be in the tournament, or at least Goku and Vegeta won't use it as a part of their training. Which, quite honestly, this harkens back all the way back to the first arc of tournament arc of Dragon Ball, where the tournament was pretty much a part of Goku and Krillin's training. That was the purpose for them to even enter in the first place. So this really wouldn't be a new concept in Dragon Ball anyway, for, you know, a tournament to be a part of the main character's training. So perhaps that's maybe is the route they're going. I still have my reservations on whether God Ki will be banned or whether it's not going to be used, but we'll just have to wait and see, really.
So personally, how would you feel if it is banned?
I think that if it is banned, honestly, I do think that might create an interesting dynamic, because I like the notion where Dragon Ball has been going to, where Goku, where Toriyama is not making his characters rely too much on previous things that they have relied so much on, which the previous thing was transformations. Goku specifically relied so much on his transformations, like Super Saiyan 3 and everything, and I like the direction. It happened a little bit in the Cell arc too, where, you know, he tried to train in his Super Saiyan transformation just so it can be natural, but it really was never expanded upon. And I feel like Toriyama might be going back to that with all this, like, these things about trying to strip down things and trying to, like, new and creative ways to maybe become more powerful. And maybe, you know, restricting himself not to use God Ki could be one of those things, which could make an interesting dynamic for the tournament, but I'm not once again, I'm not sure if it's really going to go down that way, though. But it could be interesting. It could be interesting. It could be interesting to implement, especially in the fights and the way everything turns out.
One thing I want to toss out there, going back to what Tosi said, if it does for some reason end up being forbidden in a tournament, I could also see it still being used at the end. Like, let's say Champa goes batshit crazy because he's mad that he lost to Earth. I could see that happening, where it necessarily won't be completely cut out of the arc. So that's a good point you made at Toasty. Kwame, how do you feel about everything? And
well,
Piccolo?
The first thing, I was going to say is that, Piccolo is not weak to chopsticks. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that if you think about it, I mean, especially for Piccolo and Majin Buu and Monako, we don't really know much about Monako, but I think that when you look at Piccolo and Majin Buu, I mean, there's so many scales of power below Goku and Vegeta that I've always felt that there were only two ways, and I've said this before, Rhyme, that Piccolo could possibly get that much stronger. And I said that the whole concept of God Ki does not apply only to Saiyans, and that's one of the reasons why I think the writers implemented that, because if you think about it, the whole reason why they wanted Piccolo and Majin Buu to enter the tournament is because they obviously wanted to have a variety of people entering. Obviously, if you just made it, well, just put Gohan, Goten, and Trunks and just make it a Saiyan fest just like the Buu Saga, it'll make everything a little bit boring, and that's what I think they're trying to apply, also because of the fact that it was never specifically specified that, being a Super Saiyan God is strictly the only form of having God Ki. And if Piccolo, and I know there's no official term for it, but I tell Geekdom and Rhymestyle, I just call it the Cloudy Dimension. If Piccolo or Majin Buu or anybody is able to go into the Cloudy Dimension and are able to harness the God Ki transformation itself, I think that's one way that Piccolo and Majin Buu could get that much stronger, or they could go back into the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Either way, I think they either need an extended period of time to get stronger or the Cloudy Dimension. The reason I wasn't saying the Hyperbolic Time Chamber is for, number one, obviously Toriyama has kind of rewritten this rule about the whole how many times you can go into the Hyperbolic Time Chamber thing. But
they rebuilt it. Remember, they rebuilt it.
They did rebuild it, but I'm saying it's clear that, that whole thing is not as much of an implication as I've made an analogy with Jack's blade with kind of like if you keep working out with 20-pound weights for the rest of your life, you're not going to gain as much. And considering the fact that obviously, you know, Piccolo has gone in there before along with Goku and Vegeta, they wouldn't gain as much, but then that's contradicted because Goku was training with Vegeta in the manga. So with all of that said, I just feel like the Cloudy Dimension, specifically because the Cloudy Dimension is what we saw in Dragon Ball Super, I think the Cloudy Dimension is the one way that they'll definitely get, you know, strong enough to compete with those villains.
Right. What I was going to say is I feel like Piccolo could also go to the Chopstick planet and absorb the Chopstick people to get stronger and get...
you know what would be...
Put it right up his ass.
It would be hilarious if, like, at the end, like, you know, maybe Champa's team loses and then, like, Champa gets mad and he's happening to eat ramen that Beerus gave him while he's having... And he just jumps down and just knocks Piccolo out with chopsticks. He's like, nah, fam, that's not happening. And he's the only one he knocks out. Everyone else
This is all Clayton's fault, bro. He did this shit.
Clayton.
Geekdom, what you got for us?
I just cannot entertain this idea of God Key being banned from the tournament at all, like even the slightest bit. I disagree with Black and Fist in that it actually wouldn't make things interesting. It would make it stupid because we're seeing these characters get stronger. We're seeing Goku and Vegeta training in the Room of Spirit and Time now for 3 years. And like Toasty said, they're advertising all of this in their blue-haired form. I just couldn't even understand why they would scale the power back. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's just fan-made speculation. It's not even well thought out fan-made speculation. I have a real problem with that. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like it just doesn't make sense. The only thing that would, in any way, you know, it's like they're thinking about it in the wrong kind of way. Like the idea is not to. It's dumb. Okay, the idea is not to make it an even playing field and to lower the power scale. The idea is to raise the power scale, and the only way that's going to work is if Piccolo and Buu train with Whis, and that's pretty much what's going to happen. So again, it's, you know, I think it's going to be really stupid if they say this, because then it's like, okay, well, we're going to see these characters fighting at max power, and that's a waste of time. Like, I just think it's a waste of time. I really do.
Well, actually, I have a question I'm going to toss out at you. So we know that Monaka was the strongest person that Beerus fought, and it was never clear or stated that if Monaka had God Ki or not, but let's say he doesn't have God Ki and he's still that powerful to match with a god. So if God Ki is forbidden, it would really just be for Goku and Vegeta, and everybody else would be kind of on the same playing field. So how would you feel if that is actually the case?
I don't know. I don't know how I would feel.
Because I feel like, you know, you don't necessarily have to have God Ki to be that powerful.
No, I agree.
It makes you that powerful, but at the same time, like, it's not the big deciding factor that it's like, oh, you know, everybody should have God Ki in this tournament. Because, like, obviously there's somebody who's not a god, but clearly can fight on the level of a god for whatever reason. Whatever his power is, it makes him that strong. What if, like, that's what they're kind of going for, where it's like, you know, just fight, but no cheating, no game sharks.
I mean, I don't know, man, because, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't think I am, but when you're in your god form, you're using God Ki, even though it's internal. Like, how are they even going to be able to figure out who's using God Ki? Is it going to be like Whis and Vado sensing it? I don't know. It just seems like...
We did see when Goku transformed in Super, the second transformed into Super Saiyan, got Super Saiyan, everybody was like, oh, it can't feel his ki anymore. So, I mean, it will be possible to sense it if that's the case.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's how do you, like, okay, if you're gonna put that rule in, how do you referee that rule? Like, it just seems like, so, you know, it just seems like they want to lower the scale for the fight. No, the reason they even brought in Monaka and all these characters is because they're gonna be stronger. That's the entire purpose of this. So I just don't see this being true at all. Like, I just don't even. I think it's gonna be, they're gonna fight, and you're right. Maybe not everybody's gonna know how to use God Ki, but like Quinn said, when they're gonna train in that cloudy dimension and learn God Ki, and then everybody will be at least on a somewhat even playing field. But again, are they gonna be equal to Goku and Vegeta? I don't know, but I just can't see them saying no God Ki. I just don't get it. Like, it just doesn't doesn't compute.
We know one of three things is gonna happen. One thing, either everybody that's in the tournament is already the same strength as a god, because obviously they have to be somewhat equal in power. Two, God Ki will be forbidden, and then that means everybody will be sort of equal again. Or 3, everybody will get trained to the level of God. So Majin Buu and Piccolo will be trained by, Beerus and Whis, and then of course the Champa team will be trained by Champa and Vados. One of these three things is obviously going to happen. But regardless of how the powers get scaled out, I'm going to go with what Tosi said. As long as the fights are good and intense, that's all I care about. Although I will agree that if God Key does end up being forbidden, it would be kind of weird because we're just set up the last 2-3 years for this. And also it's like, oh, by the way, you want more development? La 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 la, JK, we're going to do something else. But at the same time, I also would not be completely surprised just because Toriyama's always been that kind of guy where it's like you can't really predict what he does. Every next move he does in his story is so like, wow. Like, for example, when the characters were revealed, a lot of people were thrown off. It's like, I'd never expected Monaka to look like this. I didn't either. I mean, I'm already aware of Toriyama's designs in the past, but I still would have never guessed Monaka would look like this. So, I don't know. Ultimately, it comes down to me, as long as the fight is so good, as long as it's as intense as it was back in the day, I'm okay with it. So, that's how I feel about it. But what about the rest of you guys, those watching this? If God Key is indeed forbidden in this, how would you react to it? Would it be stupid, not stupid? This is your opportunity to join the discussion in the comment section below and let us know basically what you're thinking. Yeah. But regardless, I still think this is a fun topic to see what the community thinks. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If there's anything that we said that you agree with or disagree with, feel free to let us know as well. But other than that, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day. This has been another weekly discussion, and we'll see you guys in the comment section below.
And please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to say Clayton.